Real talk. By the end of this video, drop one number in the comments. How many of these 10 habits you're guilty of? The average driver does at least 5 every week, and each one slowly wrecks your car. They look harmless. You probably did a couple today. But mechanics see the results daily. Dead fuel pumps, ruined transmissions, cooked engines. And it all starts with mistakes you think don't matter. Habit 1. Ignoring your parking brake. You pull into your driveway, shift into park, take your foot off the brake, and walk away. Feels normal, right? Here's the problem. You just put the entire weight of your 3,000-pound vehicle on a piece of metal the size of your thumb. I'm not exaggerating. It's called the parking pawl, and it's literally a tiny pin inside your transmission that's now holding your entire car in place. That clicking sound you hear when you shift into park? That's the pawl engaging with the transmission gear. Now imagine doing this every single day for years. That little pin is under constant stress, especially if you park on any kind of incline. Over time, it wears down, and eventually, it can break completely. When that happens, your car can roll away even when it's in park. But here's the worst part. When the parking pawl finally gives out, it doesn't just break cleanly, it shatters. And those metal fragments? They swim around in your transmission fluid, destroying gears and clutch packs like shrapnel. We're talking about a $1,500 to $3,000 transmission repair, all because you didn't use a feature that's already built into your car, your parking brake. Here's what you should do instead. Every single time you park, and I mean every single time, even on flat ground, engage your parking brake before you shift into park. This takes the load off that tiny pawl and puts it on a dedicated braking system designed to hold your car. And here's a bonus. If you never use your parking brake, the cable seize up from lack of movement. Then when you actually need it, like on a steep hill, it won't work at all. Use it or lose it. Simple as that. Your transmission will thank you. Habit 2. Resting your hand on the gear shift. How many times have you been driving down the road with one hand on the wheel and the other just casually resting on the gear shifter? Maybe you think it looks cool. Maybe it just feels comfortable. Either way, you're slowly destroying your transmission and you don't even know it. Now, before we go further, let me be clear about something. If you drive a modern car with a rotary knob shifter, a button shifter, or one of those electronic gear selectors that returns to center after you shift, you can relax. This doesn't apply to you. Those are shift-by-wire systems. There's no mechanical linkage between your hand and the transmission, so rest away. But if you're driving a manual transmission or an older automatic with a traditional mechanical shifter, listen up. When you rest your hand on that shifter, you're applying constant downward pressure on something called the selector fork. This is a component inside your transmission that moves gears into position. That pressure causes premature wear on the transmission bushings and synchronizers. Over time, this leads to grinding when you shift, difficulty getting into gear, and eventually, complete transmission failure. And we're not talking about a cheap fix here. Replacing worn bushings and synchronizers can cost you anywhere from $500 to $1,500 depending on your car. Here's the thing. Your hand isn't that heavy, right? Maybe a pound or two of pressure. But think about it. If you drive an hour a day with your hand on that shifter, that's 365 hours a year of constant pressure on components that were never designed to handle it. The fix is stupidly simple. Keep both hands on the steering wheel. Only touch the shifter when you're actively changing gears. Not only will this save your transmission, but it's also safer. You'll have better control of your vehicle, especially in emergency situations. Habit 3. Flooring it when the engine is cold. Alright, this is the big one. If you only fix one habit from this entire video, make it this one. Because according to mechanics, this is the #1 cause of premature engine wear that they see in their shops. Here's the scenario. It's a cold morning. You start your car, and within 30 seconds, you're backing out of the driveway. Within a minute, you're merging onto the highway, engine screaming at 4,000 RPM. Sound familiar? You just took years off your engine's life. Let me explain why. When your engine sits overnight, all the oil drains down into the oil pan at the bottom. When you first start the car, that oil needs to be pumped back up to all the critical components: your pistons, your camshafts, your bearings. But here's the catch. Cold oil is thick. It's viscous. It doesn't flow as easily as warm oil. So for the first few minutes after startup, your engine is running with less lubrication than it's designed to have. Now add another problem. Metal expands when it heats up, and different metals expand at different rates. Your aluminum pistons expand faster than your iron engine block. When everything is cold and you floor the gas pedal, those pistons are slamming against the cylinder walls with insufficient oil between them. This creates something called piston slap. You might hear it as a rattling or knocking sound when you first start the car. That's metal hitting metal. And every time that happens, you're wearing down the piston rings, scoring the cylinder walls, and putting excessive stress on your bearings. Even if you have the most advanced synthetic oil on the market, your 0W20, your full synthetic premium stuff, it still can't protect your engine when it's cold and you're driving it hard. The solution? Give your engine time to wake up. For the first 5 to 10 minutes after you start your car, drive gently. Keep your RPMs low, no hard acceleration, no heavy loads. Wait until your temperature gauge reaches the middle of its range. That's when your engine is at operating temperature, the oil is flowing properly, and everything has expanded to its proper tolerances. Do this, and your engine can easily last 200,000 miles or more. Ignore it, and you might be looking at major engine work at 80,000 miles. Habit 4. Running on low fuel regularly. Let's talk about your fuel gauge, specifically that bottom quarter. You know, the part you pretend doesn't exist until your low fuel light comes on and you start doing mental math about whether you can make it to the cheaper gas station across town. Yeah, that habit? It's cooking your fuel pump to death. Literally. Here's what most people don't understand about fuel pumps. They're not just sitting at the bottom of your gas tank casually pumping fuel. They're high-speed electric motors that spin at thousands of RPM, and they generate a lot of heat doing it. So how do they stay cool? They use the gasoline surrounding them as a heat sink. The fuel absorbs the heat and carries it away. It's a clever system, but it only works when there's actually fuel in the tank. When you're running on empty, that pump is spinning just as fast, generating just as much heat, but now there's no fuel to cool it down, so it overheats. The motor starts to wear out prematurely. The internal components start to break down. Now, you've probably heard the other argument about running low on fuel, that it sucks up sediment from the bottom of the tank and clogs your fuel filter. Let me be honest with you. That's mostly a myth. The fuel pickup is always at the bottom of the tank anyway, so it's always pulling from the same place regardless of how full your tank is. But the overheating issue? That's 100% real. And fuel pumps are not cheap to replace. Depending on your car, you're looking at anywhere from $400 to $1,200 for a new pump, and that includes labor. Here's what makes it worse. The damage is cumulative. It's not like you run low on fuel once and your pump explodes. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Every time you let that tank get too low, you're shaving time off your fuel pump's lifespan. A well-maintained fuel pump in a car that's always kept above a quarter tank can last 200,000 miles or more. But if you're constantly running on fumes, you might be replacing it at 80,000 miles. The fix is brain-dead simple. When your fuel gauge hits the quarter tank mark, fill up. Make it a rule. Treat that quarter tank line like it's empty. Your fuel pump will last the entire life of your car. Habit 5. Riding the clutch. Alright, this one's for my manual transmission drivers out there. If you drive an automatic, you can skip ahead 30 seconds. But for those of you rowing your own gears, this is critical. Riding the clutch is the fastest way to turn a $1,500 clutch replacement into a $3,000 clutch plus flywheel nightmare. And I see people doing this every single day. So what does riding the clutch actually mean? It's when you keep your foot resting on the clutch pedal while you're driving, or when you're sitting at a stoplight with the clutch pressed in and the car in gear. You might think, hey, my foot is barely touching it. It's not that bad. Wrong. Even the slightest pressure on that pedal is engaging the clutch partially. And when the clutch is partially engaged, it's slipping. When it slips, it generates heat. A lot of heat. That heat causes the clutch disc to wear down prematurely. It can warp your flywheel. It destroys the pressure plate springs, and it absolutely murders your throwout bearing. The throwout bearing is the component that presses against the pressure plate when you push the clutch pedal. It's designed to be engaged for short periods, just long enough to shift gears. It's not designed to be under constant pressure. When you ride the clutch, that bearing is spinning constantly under load. It overheats, it wears out, and when it fails, you'll hear a horrible grinding or squealing noise every time you press the clutch pedal. And here's the kicker. To replace the throwout bearing, the mechanic has to drop the entire transmission. So even though the bearing itself might only cost $50, you're paying for hours of labor. At that point, any good mechanic is going to tell you that you might as well replace the entire clutch assembly while they're in there. So now your $50 bearing just turned into a $3,000 job. Here's how to avoid all of this. When you're driving and not actively shifting, your foot should be completely off the clutch pedal. Not resting on it, not hovering over it. Completely off. At stoplights, if you're waiting for more than 10 seconds, shift into neutral and take your foot off the clutch. Do this right, and your clutch should last 100,000 miles or more. Habit 6. Hitting potholes and speed bumps at speed. Let's talk about potholes and speed bumps for a minute. I know. Depending on where you live, they're unavoidable. But the way you hit them makes all the difference between a car that lasts and a car that rattles itself apart. Every time you slam into a pothole at full speed, you're sending a shock wave through your entire suspension system. We're talking about forces that your shocks and struts were never designed to handle. Your suspension is engineered to absorb gradual impacts, normal road imperfections, gentle bumps, that kind of thing. But a pothole at 30 miles per hour? That's a violent, instantaneous impact that compresses your suspension to its absolute limit. And here's what happens when you do that repeatedly. Your shocks and struts start to wear out prematurely. The internal seals break down. Fluid starts leaking. And once your shocks are blown, every other component in your suspension takes the beating instead. Your control arms start to crack. Your bushings tear. Your tie rods bend. Your wheel bearings get pounded. And if you hit a pothole hard enough, you can bend a wheel or blow out a tire on the spot. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. One bad pothole can cause $1,000 in damage. And if you're hitting them regularly without slowing down, you're looking at cumulative damage that can cost you $3,000 or more over time. And let's talk about alignment for a second. Every time you hit a major pothole, there's a chance it knocks your alignment out of spec. And when your alignment is off, your tires wear unevenly. Now here's a pro tip that most people don't know. If you absolutely cannot avoid a pothole and you're about to hit it, do not slam on your brakes right before impact. Why? Because braking compresses your front suspension. It loads all the weight onto your front wheels. So when you hit that pothole with your suspension already compressed, you're basically hitting it with zero shock absorption. Instead, if you see a pothole coming and you can't avoid it, brake before you get there to slow down. Then release the brakes just before you hit it. This lets your suspension extend and gives you maximum travel to absorb the impact. The best solution, of course, is to slow down significantly for any pothole or speed bump. Drop to 10 or 15 miles per hour. I know it feels overly cautious, but your suspension will last twice as long. Habit 7. Overloading your keyring. This next one might sound weird, but stick with me because it's legit. How many keys and accessories are hanging off your car key right now? 10 keys? 15? A couple of keychains? Maybe a bottle opener? If you drive a car with a traditional key ignition, basically any car made before 18, that heavy keyring is slowly destroying your ignition cylinder. Here's the problem. When you put your key in the ignition, all that weight is hanging off of it. And when you drive, that weight bounces and swings with every bump in the road, every turn, every acceleration and deceleration. That constant movement wears out the tumblers inside your ignition cylinder. These are tiny, precise components that need to align perfectly for your key to turn. When they wear down, your key starts getting stuck. It becomes harder to turn. Eventually, it might not turn at all. And replacing an ignition cylinder isn't cheap. Depending on your car, you're looking at $200 to $600. And that's assuming you can still get your key out. If your key gets stuck in the ignition, you might need to have your car towed to the shop. But wait, there's more. All that swinging weight also damages the ignition switch itself, the electrical component that your key activates. When that fails, your car won't start at all. You'll turn the key and nothing happens. And here's the cosmetic damage you might not think about. That heavy keyring swinging around constantly? It's scratching and gouging the plastic around your ignition. Now, if you drive a push-to-start car, you're mostly safe from this problem. Your key fob sits in a cup holder or your pocket, so it's not putting mechanical stress on anything. But you should still lighten your keyring just for convenience. The fix is simple. Get a separate, lightweight keyring just for your car key. Keep it minimal, maybe your car key and 1 or 2 essential keys max. Put all your other keys on a different ring that you keep in your pocket or bag. I know it seems like a hassle to carry 2 key rings, but it's way less of a hassle than being stranded in a parking lot because your ignition cylinder just gave up the ghost. Lighten your key ring. Your ignition will last the entire life of your car. Habit 8. Never checking tire pressure. Let's talk about tire pressure, because this is something that literally 95% of drivers ignore until their tire pressure monitoring system light comes on. And by then, you've already done damage. Here's what most people don't realize. By the time your TPMS light turns on, your tires are already 25% below the recommended pressure. That means if your tires should be at 35 psi, your light doesn't come on until you're down to about 26 psi. And at that point, your tires have been running underinflated for weeks, maybe months. And underinflated tires are destroying themselves in multiple ways. First, they wear unevenly. When a tire is underinflated, the outer edges of the tread make more contact with the road than the center, so those outer edges wear down way faster. You might think your tires have plenty of life left based on the center tread, but the edges are bald. Second, underinflated tires generate excessive heat. A properly inflated tire flexes a normal amount as it rolls. An underinflated tire flexes way more, and that extra flexing creates heat. And heat is the enemy of tire longevity. In extreme cases, this heat buildup can cause a blowout. You're driving down the highway at 70 miles per hour, and suddenly your tire explodes. Third, underinflated tires kill your fuel economy. Studies show that tires underinflated by just a few psi can reduce your gas mileage by up to 3%. That might not sound like much, but over a year, that's real money. And here's the thing, tires naturally lose pressure over time. Even if you have no leaks, you can lose 1 to 2 psi per month just from air permeating through the rubber. The solution is dead simple. Check your tire pressure once a month. It takes 2 minutes. You need a tire pressure gauge. You can get a good digital one for $20. Check your tires when they're cold, meaning you haven't driven more than a mile. The correct pressure is on a sticker inside your driver's door jamb, not on the tire itself. That number is the maximum pressure, not the recommended pressure. If you do this one simple thing every month, your tires will last 50% longer, your fuel economy will improve, and you'll never have to worry about a blowout. Habit 9. Shutting off the engine immediately after hard driving. This one is critical if you own a turbocharged car, but it applies to all vehicles after hard use. Here's the scenario. You've been driving on the highway for an hour, or maybe you've been driving spiritedly through some back roads. You pull into your driveway, shift into park, and immediately turn the car off. Seems normal, right? Here's the problem. After hard driving, your turbocharger is glowing red hot. We're talking about temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and that turbo is spinning at over 100,000 RPM. When you shut the engine off immediately, oil flow stops. But that turbo is still incredibly hot. The residual heat literally cooks the oil that's sitting in the turbo bearings. This is called oil coking. That cooked oil turns into a hard, carbonized sludge that acts like glue in your turbo bearings. Over time, this destroys the bearings, causes the turbo to seize, and eventually leads to complete turbo failure. And replacing a turbocharger is not cheap. Depending on your car, you're looking at anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000. Even if you don't have a turbo, shutting your car off immediately after hard driving isn't great. Your engine, exhaust system, and cooling system are all extremely hot. Letting the car idle for a minute allows oil and coolant to continue circulating, preventing heat soak and protecting critical components. Now, here's an important caveat. Many modern turbocharged cars built after 2018 have electric coolant pumps that continue running for a few minutes after you shut the car off. These are designed to solve this exact problem. Check your owner's manual to see if your car has this feature. But if you're driving an older turbo car, or if you're not sure, here's the fix. After highway driving or spirited driving, let your car idle for 60 to 90 seconds before shutting it off. This gives the turbo time to slow down and the oil time to cool it properly. It's a tiny habit that can add years to your turbo's life. Habit 10. Ignoring small leaks and stains. Okay, pop quiz. When's the last time you looked underneath your car? And I don't mean a quick glance. I mean actually got down and checked for fluid spots, drips, or stains. If your answer is never or I can't remember, you're in the majority. And that's a problem. Because small leaks don't stay small. They always get worse. And by the time you notice a puddle under your car, you've probably been leaking for weeks or months. Here's why this matters. Every fluid in your car serves a critical purpose. Engine oil lubricates and cools your engine. Coolant prevents overheating. Transmission fluid keeps your transmission alive. Brake fluid makes your brakes work. Power steering fluid lets you turn the wheel. When any of these fluids get low, bad things happen, and they happen faster than you think. Low engine oil? Your engine starts to overheat. Bearings wear out. You could seize the engine completely. Low coolant? Your engine overheats and you could warp your cylinder head or blow a head gasket. That's a multi-thousand-dollar repair. Low transmission fluid? Your transmission starts slipping, overheating, and eventually fails. Another $3,000 to $5,000 repair. Low brake fluid? Your brakes stop working. That's not just expensive, it's dangerous. And here's the worst part. A leak that costs $100 to fix today could cost $3,000 if you wait until something actually breaks. An oil pan gasket leak? $50 in parts, maybe $200 in labor. But if you ignore it and run your engine low on oil, you could need a complete engine rebuild. A coolant hose leak? $20 for the hose. But if you ignore it and overheat your engine, you're looking at a new head gasket at minimum. The solution is simple. Once a week when you park your car, take 10 seconds to look underneath it. If you see any spots or stains, figure out what fluid it is. Green or yellow? That's coolant. Brown or black? Engine oil. Red or pink? Transmission fluid or power steering fluid. Clear? That's just water from your AC. Totally normal. If you find a real leak, get it checked out immediately. Don't wait. Don't hope it goes away. It won't. So there you have it. 10 silent habits that are destroying your car every single day. So here's my challenge. Go back through this video. Count how many of these habits you're guilty of and drop that number in the comments. Be honest, no judgment. We've all been there. And if this video just saved you from a massive repair bill, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe for more car tips that'll actually save you money. I'll see you in the next one.